In honor of Veterans Day, we're proud to share this video interview with Chris Peck. As Vice President, Corporate Human Resources, Chris was responsible for maintaining UPS's reputation as an employer of choice for over 470,000 global employees. He oversaw human capital strategy in identifying, cultivating, and engaging a globally diverse and highly skilled workforce committed to world-class service and safety. Chris was a UPS partner for 34 years with proven experience in the operations, human resources, and global strategy development. He retired in September 2018 and continues to support UPS's veteran and community efforts as a proud alumnus. Dedicated to his country and his community, Chris proudly served for over 21 years in the U.S. Air Force and National Guard, both as a non-commissioned and field grade officer. Chris obtained his BA in economics from Rutgers University, his MBA from St. Mary's College, postgraduate studies at INSEAD and University of Georgia, and professional certifications as Senior Professional in Human Resources and Global Professional in Human Resources. Please tell me how you became involved in the U.S. Air Force and National Guard.
Well, good morning, Heather, and it's a pleasure to answer that question because, interestingly enough, it started while I was at Rutgers University, attending Rutgers College. I was a sophomore and reading a paper that I'm not sure if it exists still in print, but the Targum. And in the Targum, they had an ad listed for military service and for anybody that might be interested in some college education assistance. And in that case, either in the form of the GI Bill or even a student loan repayment program. And since I was financing my own way through Rutgers at that time, that ad appealed to me. And I reached out and contacted that recruiter. And I went through probably about a 3 to 4 month inquiry myself and exploring what is this all about and how might a career in the Air Force and National Guard complement and be managed inside my Rutgers University education and of course then beyond after graduation.
How did your 20 plus years of service influence you in your career?
Yes, Heather, you know, it's interesting. I would say that initially when I joined the Air Force, again, as a full-time Rutgers undergraduate student, my intention was really not to stay in for a career of military service. Quite frankly, at the time, my decision process was I needed money for college. I needed some assistance, as I said, to help me make my way through college. And what I was able to learn and understand once I actually got in and had the opportunity to serve was what a rich and rewarding experience it was. And frankly, how complementary it was inside of a civilian career at the same time. And I think that's one of the things that folks, you know, see or don't understand about the military very well is you have a lot of stereotypes that are out there based on what we see in the media, what we learn from movies, and in some case, what we learn secondhand, perhaps from other individuals as well too. But certainly the skills that I received during my career encouraged me to not only stay in and commit to that for a longer period of time, but also to continue to take advantage and really map out those complementary educational experiences, those exposures, the education component as well too, that absolutely helped me in my civilian career at UPS as I progressed within leadership with that organization.
Please tell me about your commitment to veteran services, such as Paralyzed Veterans of America, American Corporate Partners, and Vetlanta.
Yes, Heather, you know, there's a number of wonderful organizations. And if I really backed out a little bit from the military service component, there's some wonderful organizations that serve folks that are less fortunate than we are across the board. And whether that's in the area of homelessness, food insecurity, social justice, American Heart Association, you name it. They're wonderful organizations out there. And there are certain areas that are going to pull at people's heartstrings when it comes to service. So in my case, on the military service, it was a natural tie-in for me, both during, and then certainly leaning in more after my military retirement, while I was still employed, of course, at UPS, and to have an opportunity to volunteer in skilled and leadership positions within some of those veteran service organizations, as they're referred to, or VSOs. So each of the ones that you mentioned, and there have been some others along the journey here as well too, have a commitment to improving the lives of veterans and or service members while they continue to serve, to help them as they move forward post-military career. So as an example, American Corporate Partners, wonderful organization, headquartered in New York City, not far from Rutgers as well, that has a very seemingly simple and straightforward program of mentoring. And it's a one-on-one, full year long mentorship program wherein a business leader like myself would get paired up with a typically transitioning service member and help them navigate some of the civilian side opportunities and challenges that they face in making that transition. So a lot of that is career coaching. It involves some mock interviews, of course, some resume reviews at the same time, and probably really importantly, translating their military skills into civilian equivalent roles and experiences. And a vast number of veterans really, frankly, underestimate or haven't taken the real time and rigor to really look at the rich range of skills that they've obtained, regardless of what their career field might have been in the military, that are highly transferable. Skills like, training, certainly, an ability to work with a diverse population, probably the most diverse that you're going to find in any organization, you're going to find in the military. Certainly decision-making, conflict management, and I mean that by interpersonal conflict management, cross-cultural differences and working with multinational countries around the globe, depending upon their operation as well. The military operates on a budget. And again, there's some old stereotypes thinking that the military just has an open checkbook. I can assure you that they do not. And the leadership skills that today's military service members have is really unrivaled, frankly, and it can be a true source of competitive advantage. So whether it's an organization like that, or an organization like Vetlanta, which is based in Atlanta, where I'm located, that really mobilizes around different pillars, and in our case, education, employment, healthcare, small business ownership, and housing are some of those focus areas that we really get aligned on to help and assist veterans, again, in transition or at any point, frankly, in their career. So whether it's a veteran organization, I think, or a non-veteran organization, I think the common thread on all of that is service. How do we recognize that our greatest fulfillment really comes when we're serving others? And I think that's what the military certainly gives the best example of.
What would you like to tell young people today that are thinking about joining the military?
Heather, I think, again, a great question. I think so many stereotypes and assumptions are made about what the military is even all about. And of course, politics oftentimes can get in the way and skew people's understanding. The military, first of all, is rich in diverse experiences, career fields, disciplines as well too. I think every time when folks ask me, oh, you were in the Air Force, they ask me if I was a pilot. And of course, the Air Force does fly planes. And typically, if you're in the Army, the assumption is that everyone is in the infantry, or perhaps a tanker. So these stereotypes that people have in their minds really narrow the scope of what's in fact truly available. And in my case, when I was considering joining the Air Force, I was really focused in on 3 different career fields at that time. The first one was finance and accounting. Perhaps not surprising, I was economics and accounting major at Rutgers, so that seemed like a logical group for me to consider. Second one was a jet engine mechanic. Once again, very different than finance and accounting, to be clear. And the third one was meteorology. And that's actually the one that I landed on. And my career was all in meteorology on the military side of the house. So, but there are also, roles, once again, in a wide range of areas that are operational, that are support related, legal, public affairs, marketing, if you will, on that side, when you think about some of the public affairs and recruiting activities as well. So there's really not going to be a role in which a person probably can't find or see themselves in that not only is going to give them that rich experience just within the military, but is probably going to help them significantly on their civilian job side. And in my case, I can certainly attest that that was the case. My military experience that I had concurrent with my UPS experience afforded me the opportunity to take on roles with a different skill set than someone that just did not have that same experience. So definitely worth considering as I think a young person. I'm a bit biased, of course, but I believe that the National Guard and Reserves are an outstanding part-time career that can complement any other civilian career that you have. My son also serves in the National Guard now as well, too, in addition to his full-time role at PwC in New York City.
How would you suggest that people celebrate Veterans Day?
Well, first of all, Heather, Veterans Day is one of those holidays that we want to celebrate. Very important and rich legacy as well, too. Sort of like the 4th of July, it is a positive holiday. Unlike Memorial Day, which is a more somber, reflective day, it is perfectly acceptable to say Happy Veterans Day to anyone and everyone that you see, whether they're a veteran or not. I think that that simple acknowledgement is important. I think it might be beneficial also to understand and spend some time, of course, with a veteran. And of course, you don't always know who is a veteran, but you may see a little bit more visible on Veterans Day, of course. And not only to thank them for their service, but ask them about it. And some service members are very willing to share their stories. Other ones may be a little bit more guarded and close to the vest. But in any event, just honoring and recognizing their service and sacrifice and commitment that they've made, regardless of the era, regardless of the branch of service, I think is important. And then finally, I would say, underscoring just the service. This is a recognition of military service, but taking an opportunity to just see the importance of service in general. Not everyone is going to join the military, and that's perfectly okay, just as they're not going to join any company or organization. But do find out a cause, find something that, again, you have a passion for, that you just naturally and willingly would give your time and energy to, and try it on. Try on service that day for an organization. And I do compare it to, trying on a suit, trying on a jacket or a blouse. See if it fits. And if it doesn't fit, take it off and you try on another one until you do find that right fit for service for you.